Planet Dolan.
From hypnotizing their children to dancing with a doll, the Planet Dolan crew reenacts some of the best true stories from our subreddit about the weirdest things we've seen our neighbors do. I am Dolan, and today I'll be your narrator. Number 10 was submitted by TheCloudInTheSky. When she was 10, Doofy had a weird neighbor. One day, while she was outside playing with her dog, her neighbor yelled, "Your dog looks like my son, Bun Bun." Confused, Doofy managed a little smile before the neighbor asked, "Would you like to meet him?" Doofy said she didn't want to meet him, but her neighbor still brought him outside. His son was the bloody skin of a dog that had been put on a body shape and then taped. Doofy ran inside and told her parents what she saw. They moved soon after. Number 9 was submitted by Jill C72. Froggy and her friend were playing in the living room one day. She looked out the window and noticed her neighbor standing in his garden. She watched as he picked up his cat by the tail, dropped it in a hole, and shot it. Froggy and her friend were horrified, so they went to tell Froggy's mother what happened. Her mother went outside to confront their neighbor. He told her that his cat had been hit by a car and was seriously injured. It was so bad that he had to be put down. Froggy thought that if it were her cat, she would have just taken it to the vet to be euthanized. It still haunts her to this day. Number 8 was submitted by KatKaleen112. One day, Mimi was taking a walk around the neighborhood when she saw her neighbor. He was climbing on top of his garbage can while naked and blasting music. Mimi ran home and told her mother what happened. Her mother sarcastically said that if he ever did it again, she would march over there and kill him. It turned out that it did happen again. Only this time the neighbor screamed, "I am your leader, I will lead the way." Mimi's mother didn't kill him, but 2 years later, they moved away. Number 7 was submitted by Coreybetlive. Derek had a weird neighbor when he was 10 years old. The neighbors consisted of his best friend, his older brother, and their parents. One day his best friend went on a vacation with his parents, while his older brother stayed behind. From his bedroom window, Derek saw the older brother dance with what appeared to be a girl. He kept seeing that for about a week, and towards the end of the week he wanted to know who he was dancing with. So he took a closer look in the bedroom window of his best friend's older brother and was shocked. The guy had been dancing with a makeup smeared sex doll. Derek was so shocked that he ran back to his bedroom and pretended that he never saw it. To this day, he hasn't even told his best friend what he saw his brother doing during the week he was on vacation. He was getting it on with a sex doll. Getting it on with a sex doll. Ooh. Number 6 was submitted by Xxdreamzz. Sid's neighbor was very weird. One time he ran outside, belly flopped to the ground, and started moving like a worm. Then he stripped naked and started screaming, "I love cream pies! I like ponies!" After running back inside the house, the neighbor ran back outside with a chicken costume. Sid watched as his neighbor put on a chicken costume and screamed at the top of his lungs, "I want to masturbate!" After that, Sid and his family moved. I would have moved fast as hell too. Number 5 was submitted by KidAeroDragon. When Princess Proton was 6, she was outside playing when she noticed her neighbor staring at her. He then went back into his house and brought out his dog. She watched as he licked the dog, then the dog licked him back. Confused, Princess Proton didn't know what to do. Suddenly her neighbor puked and his dog began eating it. Princess Proton almost puked herself, but luckily he moved a week after. She still can't get that image out of her mind. Number 4 was submitted by KidAeroDragon. Helbin was 8 years old when he was walking outside his house one day. He was doing all sorts of things kids his age did, until his neighbor suddenly sprinted out of his house and screamed, "I need fire! I need fire! Water is in my house!" Helbin wondered why his neighbor was saying that, so he ran back into his house and told his mother, who immediately called the fire department. The police, EMTs, and the fire department showed up. While the fire was being put out, the drunk neighbor kept running around screaming. The police had to eventually tase him. Once the neighbor recovered, they asked him what had happened. He told them that he was hitting the happy juice pretty hard while doing some drugs. He also told them that he had been playing with matches, which was the cause of the fire. Although he was arrested, the neighbor came back within a few days. Helbin avoided him after that. Number 3 was submitted by thepugsterr. One time when Melissa was 4, she accidentally walked into her neighbor's house because it looked exactly like hers. As soon as she walked through the door, Melissa went straight into the kitchen where she saw her 37-year-old neighbor. He was dressed in a diaper, socks, and a hat that said, "Daddy's little girl." He also had a pacifier in his mouth and just stood there, staring at her. Melissa ran out the door and screamed,
"There's a giant baby in my house!"
Number 2 was submitted by KatKaleen. When she was 8, Ramona and her friends were playing in the garden one day. She noticed her neighbor walk out of her house with a huge bowl in her hands. Ramona and her friends watched as their neighbor walked to the end of the terrace and emptied the contents of the bowl over the railing. Curious, Ramona and her friends went to see what the neighbor had dumped. It turned out to be puke, which was very weird because she would have had to pass the bathroom to come outside. Ramona and her friends didn't know why the neighbor just didn't pour the bowl of puke into the toilet instead. Mysterious. Aw, I can't say that one. Dang. It's like, y'all, you know I don't curse, man. I'll let you fill it in, Sid, for this one, because there's a curse word.
Number 1 was submitted by Shit Guys.
That's a terrible name, by the way, though. One night, while laughing, Spence's mom called her into the kitchen. She made her look out the kitchen window and into the window of their neighbor's house. Their neighbor was standing there, naked, jerking off. Spence's just stood there, confused as to why their neighbor was doing that in front of a window with open blinds. It wasn't also the only time he did that. He did it another time when Spence's had some of her friends over. They all stood there watching, laughing at the man. Spence's mom ended up that's best thing. He was laughing at this man beating his meat. Oh, okay. Spence's mom ended up telling everyone of her neighbor's bad habits, which resulted in a big argument between her and the masturbating neighbor's wife. Huge thanks for the folks over on our Planet Dolan subreddit for submitting their stories. We have another question for you. What's the weirdest dream you've ever had? Let us know on the Reddit page linked below, and you might be featured in a future countdown. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Take care, everybody. Peace.